Before we begin tonight's journey, pause for a moment. Tell us where in the world you're listening from and what time is it for you right now. Type it into the comments below. We love seeing where our dreamers are joining from across time and space. Now, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Imagine the stars. Imagine the silence between them. And imagine Mars. It is the year 2200. Humanity has stretched its roots beyond Earth. Not in myths, not in passing probes, but in cities of glass and steel beneath alien skies. A colony, stubborn, alive, clings to the red desert. And you are one of its people. Tonight, you will live their life. You will wake where the sun is small and distant. You will breathe air that was made, not given. You will walk through domes and tunnels, gardens and dust storms. You will see Earth only as a pale star in the distance. This is no science fiction, dear. This is your day, your breath, your hunger, your dream. In the year 2200, in a colony on Mars. Morning begins differently here. Not with birdsong, not with rustling trees, not with the warmth of Earth's dawn, but with the soft hum of machines. Air circulators whisper above your head. Pumps strobe beneath the floor. A faint vibration runs through the walls, the heartbeat of the colony. You open your eyes. The ceiling glows pale with artificial light. A gentle spectrum, programmed to mimic sunrise on Earth. But outside the dome, the real sun is already rising. Sharp, cold, distant. A pale disk shining through thin air, casting long shadows across the desert of Mars. You sit up on your cot. The mattress is thin, efficient, practical. Storage drawers line the walls around you. Every item has a place. Nothing is wasted here. You reach for your breathing mask. Not because the air in the habitat is unbreathable, but because it is dry, recycled, filtered so many times it feels thinner than what you remember from Earth. The mask moistens it, warms it, spares your lungs from the bite of desiccation. Your body has changed since you arrived. Bones slightly weaker, muscles a little lighter. Gravity here is only a third of Earth's, and every movement feels both effortless and strange. You walk carefully, as if your body remembers Earth, but must constantly correct itself. Outside your quarters, the corridor glows dimly. Other colonists are stirring. Some shuffle past in simple jumpsuits. Others carry tablets with schedules for the day's work. A child runs by, giggling, her feet bouncing higher than they should. Martian gravity turning her skip into a leap. The corridor leads to the commons. a wide dome, transparent at the top, revealing the sky. And there it is, your first sight each day, Mars. The horizon stretches wide, empty, endless. Rocks lie scattered like ancient bones. The ground is red, but not a single shade. It shifts from ochre to rust to deep crimson, striped with shadows. Far away, mountains loom like gods. Olympus Mons rises taller than anything Earth could dream of. And above it all, the sky is not blue, but butterscotch, thin and alien, carrying a quiet that presses against your ears. You breathe slowly. The glass keeps you safe, but it also reminds you one fracture, one storm, one mistake, and the world outside will take everything. Life here is a miracle held together by steel and discipline. Breakfast is simple: hydroponic grains, insect protein, bread grown from engineered yeast. You sip water filtered and recycled countless times. Every drop you drink was once steam, once sweat, once breath. And still, you taste gratitude. Because here, food is not just fuel. It is proof you're alive. Proof that life can bloom even in the desert of another planet. Around you, colonists talk softly. News from Earth has arrived, delayed by minutes, sometimes hours, depending on orbital distance. A ship is en route, bringing supplies. A debate about governance stirs in the council. Children chatter about schoolwork, about stories of Earth they've never seen. You finish your meal and rise. Today, like every day, you must work. Because on Mars, every hand is needed. There are no idle citizens. You are farmer, builder, scientist, caretaker, all roles blending into one. You pass through a decontamination chamber. The air sprays around you, a fine mist that clears dust and microbes. Your suit waits on the rack, bulky, layered, gleaming with scratches from past excursions. You step inside, seal the helmet, check the oxygen feed. The airlock hisses. Inner door closes. The outer door opens. And suddenly, silence. Real silence. Outside the dome, the world is vast and mute. Your boots sink slightly into the red dust. Your visor reflects the horizon. The wind picks up, carrying grains that sting against your helmet. This is Mars, and this is your first breath of the day. The colony is hard. Life inside the habitats. Life on Mars does not happen out in the open. It happens inside walls. Steel, glass, polymer, and ingenuity. A fragile barrier between breath and silence. And at the center of this fragile bubble lies the colony's heart. You return from your brief step outside, dust still clinging to your suit, and you walk through the airlock back into safety. The shift is instant, silence broken by hums, danger replaced by routine. The air tastes artificial, yes, but it is air. Your lungs thank you with every breath. The habitats are not one dome, but many, linked together by tunnels that curve like arteries, carrying life between organs. From above, the colony resembles a cluster of pearls scattered across the desert. From within, it feels like a small town hidden inside a machine. Your room is modest. A bed, a desk, a storage wall, a screen that glows with news from Earth or messages from family. Privacy is scarce, but it is valued. Curtains divide some spaces. Soundproofing is limited, but colonists have learned to lower their voices and respect silence. Each quarter is designed for efficiency. The walls double as storage. The ceiling carries water pipes. Lights mimic Earth's day and night, easing the circadian rhythm that Mars threatens to erase. On the outside, these quarters are modules, prefabricated, shipped across millions of kilometers, and buried halfway in regolith to shield against radiation. On the inside, they are the closest thing to home. The heart of any dome is the commons, wide, open, filled with light. This is where colonists gather for meals, meetings, celebrations. The dome's ceiling is clear, revealing the pale sky above, but inside, greenery softens the steel. Vertical gardens climb the walls, their leaves reaching upward as if remembering sunlight from another world. Children chase each other around tables while scientists discuss oxygen flow. At one corner, a musician plays a soft tune on a digital flute, its sound blending with the low hum of air pumps. Community matters here because isolation is dangerous and loneliness can kill as surely as lack of oxygen. So the commons is never just a cafeteria or a hall. It is therapy. It is ritual. It is survival. You walk through a tunnel and enter one of the most vital places in the colony, the farm. Rows of plants float in nutrient baths, their roots glowing faintly under artificial light. Lettuce, beans, tomatoes, algae. Each leaf is measured, tracked, harvested with care. Food is not just sustenance here, it is treasure. A fresh tomato, warm from the grown light, is as precious as gold. The farms are silent except for the trickle of pumps and the buzz of lamps. Workers move carefully, trimming, testing pH, measuring oxygen output. These plants do more than feed you. They breathe for you, exhaling oxygen into the recycled air. Every leaf is a partner in survival. Sometimes, when the pressure of the colony weighs on you, you come here just to sit, to stare at the green, to remember that life, stubborn or small, can grow even in the dust of Mars. Water is a miracle on Mars. It is ice mined from beneath the surface, vapor trapped from the thin air, droplets recycled endlessly from sweat, breath, waste. Every colonist knows the cycle by heart. You drink water, you breathe it out. Machines capture it, filters clean it. It returns again, disguised as coffee, as steam, as dampness on your pillow. Showers are rare. Sonic vibration and mists replace long baths. A few drops of hot water across your skin can feel like luxury. Waste is not discarded but transformed. Urine distilled, grey water filtered, nothing lost. On Earth, water flows without thought. Here, every sip carries weight. You taste not just liquid, but survival itself. Behind the scenes, machines churn. Bioreactors break down waste into fuel. 3D printers recycle old tools into new ones. Clothing is patched, reused, repurposed. Nothing leaves the cycle because here, waste is death and reuse is life. Some colonists joke, on Mars, we don't own things, we borrow them from the future. A chair, a spoon, a fabric patch, each carries a lineage. Each has lived many lives before it reaches you. Everywhere you walk, you hear it. The hum of air processors, the low throb of power grids, the faint click of solar panels shifting toward the sun. These sounds become background music, unnoticed until they falter. Because when the hum stops, hearts freeze. Silence means failure, and failure here means everything. So you learn to love the hum. It is the sound of your second heart, the colony breathing with you. Life in the habitats move like clockwork. Work shifts are scheduled precisely to balance power use. Meals rotate in patterns to conserve nutrients. Children study Earth history in the morning, then practice mass survival drills in the afternoon. Rituals emerge. Evening story hours in the commons. Morning announcements broadcast through every dome. Weekly gatherings to watch Earth rise as a pale dot over the horizon. It feels both ancient and new. Our village rhythm, reborn in a place where nothing is natural. And as you sit in the commons, sharing a meal beneath a dome that shields you from the void, you realize something. This colony is not just a machine, it is a heartbeat, and you are a part of it. Work in the red world, roles and rhythms. On Earth, work often feels like burden. Here, it feels like breath. Because on Mars, work is not a career, it is survival itself. Every colonist has tasks. Each task has weight, and every weight is shared. You cannot drift here, cannot simply exist while others carry the load. If one system fails, if one role is neglected, everyone feels it. Your day begins with assignment. A message flashes on your wrist screen. Hydrophonic maintenance shift to. Tomorrow it may be mining inspection. Next day, childcare duty. On Mars, specialization exists, but flexibility is life. Deep beneath the regolith, miners carve tunnels for resources. Iron, silicon, ice. Each strike of a drill is measured, each explosion planned with mathematical precision. They wear armored suits heavier than the EVA gear you've tried and move like shadows in the dust. The tunnels are not dark caverns, but engineered arteries lined with supports, ventilation, and lights. Still, the danger is constant. One crack, one miscalculated blast, Mars takes what it wants. Miners are respected, not for wealth, but for risk. They bring back more than metals. They bring the colony's future. The material to build more domes, more shelters, more lives. Where miners draw from the ground, engineers bend it into survival. They repair the power lines that snake across the colony like veins. They climb onto solar arrays, brushing red dust from panels so they can drink sunlight again. They test the airlock seals, patch the microfractures, recalibrate the oxygen scrubbers. On Earth, a flicker of light is inconvenience. Here, it is panic. Engineers carry this knowledge in every movement. Their tools are their weapons. Their precision is their prayer. Not all heroes wear dust-stained suits. Some wear gloves wet with nutrient solution. The farmers tending the hydroponics and algae pools feed the entire colony. Their hands may not face the storms, but they face hunger, which is worse. Every new crop is an experiment. Can strawberries bloom under altered light? Can beans thrive in recycled soil? Farmers are not just caretakers, they are inventors, coaxing Earth life to accept a Martian stage. Meals often begin with gratitude to them, a whispered thanks over bread, a nod toward the greenhouses when biting into a fresh leaf. Yes, even here, there are teachers. Children learn Earth's history not as past, but as myth. Oceans, rain, blue skies. They draw pictures of forests they have never touched, and their parents whisper stories of rivers as if describing another world entirely. But teachers also train them for the present. How to seal a suit in 30 seconds. How to identify pressure warnings. How to calculate oxygen reserves on instinct. Knowledge is not abstract. It is shield. It is lifeline. And then there are the ones who do not mine, build, or farm, but weave. Storytellers, artists, musicians. At first, their presence was questioned. Why bring a painter to Mars when every kilogram of cargo could mean more food, more fuel? But soon, their value became clear. Because survival is not just oxygen and water, it is meaning. Storytellers remind the colony that they are not just bodies in domes. They are humans in history. They craft myths of the first colonists, paint murals of red horizons, write songs that echo through the commons at night. Without them, the heart would grow hollow. With them, the colony feels alive. Work on Mars is measured by cycles. Each colonist's schedule is tied to energy flow. When solar panels peak, when storage dips, when power is stretched thin. Shifts overlap, creating constant motion. Some wake as others rest. Some mine while others teach. Yet, despite differences, the rhythm is shared. At the change of shift, corridors fill with voices. Tools are passed, notes exchanged, shoulders clasped in gratitude. You finish where someone else begins and someone else will continue after you. It is not ownership, it is relay. Over time, work itself becomes a ritual. You clean a hydrophonic pipe not just for function, but with reverence. You touch the glass of the dome not just to check for cracks, but to acknowledge that fragile wall between death and life. The colony has learned that survival is holy, and every act of labor is prayer. You finish your shift, sweat dampening your collar, lungs filled with recycled air that still tastes shock. You're tired, but it is not the tiredness of futility. It is the tiredness of being necessary. On Earth, people ask, "What do you do?" On Mars, the answer is simple. I keep us alive. The Outer Walk, a day in a Mars suit. There is a special kind of silence on Mars. Not the hush of a library, not the stillness of midnight on Earth, but the silence of a world without birds, without rivers, without breath. And to hear it, you must step outside. Today is your EVA, an extravehicular activity, the Outer Walk. Preparation begins hours before you step into the dust. You stand in the locker room, your suit hanging from its rack like an empty shell. White, bulky, its surface gleaming with scratches from past journeys. It is both armor and prison. Without it, you last only seconds. With it, you can walk beneath the alien sun. The ritual is precise. Undergarment, thermal, regulating temperature. Sensor layer, a thin mesh mapping your heartbeat, oxygen levels, skin moisture. Suit lining, circulation channels, cooling veins. Outer shell, pressure, radiation shield, puncture resistance. Helmet, curved visor, gold coated to block the cruel sunlight. Technicians check every seal, every valve, every gauge. No step is rushed. A single oversight could mean death. Finally, you lower over your head. The world outside fades. The inside of your suit fills with your breath, your pulse, your voice. The chamber closes behind you. Pressure drops. Lights shift from green to amber. The hiss of atmosphere leaving fills your ears, then vanishes into silence. The outer door creaks open. Red light spills inside. And suddenly you are standing on Mars. Your boots press into fine dust, softer than sand, sharper than ash. Each step leaves a print that could last for centuries, unbroken by wind or rain. Gravity pulls only lightly here, 1/3 of Earth's weight. You move carefully. Each step a measured bounce. Awkward at first, then strangely liberating. The horizon opens wide. Endless desert, broken by jagged cliffs. The sky above is thin, tinted butterscotch, holding the sun like a pale coin. Behind you, the dome gleams, fragile, small, like a bubble clinging to a stone. Ahead of you, infinity. There is no sound here but your own. Your breath rasps in the helmet. Your heartbeat thuds against your ears. Your comms crackle when a teammate speaks. Vitals check oxygen at 95, proceeding east. But outside of these, Mars is mute. The dust moves, but you cannot hear it. Rocks stand eternal, but they make no sound. Even the wind, thin as it is, touches only your eyes, not your ears. Silence, pure and unbroken. It is terrifying. It is holy. You walk toward the ridge. Each step stirs dust. Each motion echoes history. Around you, the land tells stories older than humanity. Olympus Mons rises in the distance, its shadow stretching across the horizon like a mountain from myth. You are small here, tiny, but not insignificant, because your footsteps mean that life has returned to a world long thought dead. Your EVA has purpose. Today, you inspect solar arrays spread across the desert. The panels lie in rows, half buried in dust. Mars is cruel to machines. Its storms coat everything in wet. Without constant care, the colony starves of power. You kneel, brush the dust away, check the readings. Your gloves are clumsy, every motion slow. But you're patient. This is sacred work. You log your findings and send them back through comms. The colony hums because of tasks like this, unseen and glamorous, but vital. Then horizon shifts, a blur of movement, a wall of dust rising higher than buildings, advancing like an army. Storm front approaching, the comms crackle. Return to dome immediately. Your heart quickens. Mars storms are not gentle. They can rage for days, even weeks, blotting out sunlight, choking panels, burying equipment. You begin the trek back, boots dragging through dust. The dome is a distant glint, growing smaller as the storm swallows the horizon. Wind lashes against your suit. You feel nothing, soundless, weightless, but your visor dims, filtering the red haze that thickens around you. Your breath fogs inside of your helmet. Your oxygen dips by a fraction. Panic stirs, but you keep moving. One step, then another, and another, until the dome grows larger again, a beacon in the storm. The airlock opens. You stumble inside. The inner door closes. Pressure rises and sound returns. The hum of machines, the hiss of air, the pounding of your heart. You are safe. When you remove the helmet, the first breath of colony air feels heavy, rich, almost sweet. You wipe sweat from your brow. Your hair clings damp against your skin. Your hands tremble, not from weakness, but from adrenaline. The storm still rages outside, but inside the dome, you are shielded. You watch through the glass as the desert disappears beneath a wall of red. And you think to yourself, this world is not kind, but you are here, alive, breathing, working, walking on Mars. And in that thought, there is awe. Food and water, eating in a fragile world. On Earth, food is abundance. Markets overflow with fruit, streets carry the smell of bread, oceans steam with fish. You never think of hunger, at least not as a daily shadow. But here, in a colony on Mars, food is not abundance, it is balance. Every leaf, every grain, every drop of water has been counted, measured, recycled, and earned. Eating is no longer routine. It is ritual. You enter the mess hall. The room is bright, lined with steel tables. Hydroponic greenery climbs the walls like a silent choir, reminding you where every meal begins. The line forms. Colonists carry trays, faces weary but eyes bright. Because even here, meals bring togetherness. Your plate, a protein bar made of ground insect paste and algae, bread baked from engineered yeast, a salad of hydroponic lettuce, and a single tomato wedge. Red as a jewel, more valuable than gold. You pause before biting. It is not habit but gratitude, because food here is not given, it is earned, crafted, coaxed from machinery and patience. The farms provide most of the colony's food. Plants grow not in soil, but in liquid baths, glowing with nutrients. Lights above them stimulate Earth's day, cycling through wavelengths to mimic sunrise, noon, dusk. You have seen the farmers move among them, hands gentle, voices hushed. Some hum to the plants, others keep records with religious devotion. Each sprout is tracked, each leaf measured, each harvest weighed with care. You realize something. Here, farming is not labor, it is priesthood. The farmers are not just workers, they are guardians of life. On Mars, meat is a memory. Cows, pigs, chickens, too heavy, too demanding, too inefficient. Instead, protein comes from algae and insects. Algae grows in pools, bubbling gently. A green broth rich with amino acids. Insects, mostly crickets, mealworms, are farmed in vertical stacks, ground into flour, baked into loaves, mixed into soups. At first, it disgusts new colonists, but over time, the taste becomes familiar. Nutty, earthy, rich with survival. And in rare moments of festivity, spices from earth ships transform these humble proteins into feasts. A sprinkle of cumin, a pinch of chili, a dash of garlic powder, and the whole hall cheers. Water is life, but here, water is miracle. Every drop you drink has lived 1,000 lives. It began as ice, mined from beneath the regolith, melted, filtered, and stored. It passed through you, sweat, breath, waste. It was captured by machines, purified, distilled, returned again. You sip a cup of warm water and know it has been someone else's tears, someone else's bath, someone else's breath, and yet it is pure, cleaner than most rivers on earth. Showers are rare, short, precious. A mist across your skin, sonic vibrations shaking dust away. The first splash of water on your face feels like blessing. Meals are never rushed. Not because colonists are leisurely, but because eating is acknowledgement. You sit with others, trays aligned on the table. Before everyone begins, silence falls. A tradition. No one speaks for 10 seconds. Just breathing. Just looking at the food. Just remembering how hard won it is. Then someone breaks the silence with a simple phrase. To life. And folks left. Even here, humanity craves celebration. Once a year, when the Earth supply ship arrives, the colony holds a feast. Exotic luxuries are divided. Coffee beans, chocolate bars, freeze-dried fruits. For one night, the hall is alive with laughter, music, stories. Children taste strawberries for the first time, their eyes wide with shock at sweetness. Adults sip real coffee, tears in their eyes. It is not just indulgence, it is reminder that Earth is still there, still feeding them, still calling. Scarcity shapes the soul. On Earth, you ate without thought. Here, you savor each bite. On Earth, you wasted without care. Here, wastage is sacrilege. Food has become more than calories. It is identity. It is proof that humanity can plant seeds in barren soil and reap survival. And when you finish your meal, when you scrape the last crumb into your mouth and swallow the last sip of recycled water, you know this. You are alive because the colony eats together. And the colony eats because life refuses to surrender even on Mars. The colony mind, psychology of Martians. Mars tests the body. But more than that, it tests the mind. The body adapts. Muscles to lighter gravity, lungs to thinner air, skin to drier climate. But the mind struggles. It carries the weight of 2 planets, the memory of Earth and the reality of Mars. You sit in your quarters after a long shift. The machines hum, the air circulates, but outside, silence. True silence. Not the quiet of midnight on Earth when wind rattles windows and dogs bark far away, but silence absolute. A world with no rivers, no insects, no thunder, no rain. At first, the silence is awe. Then it becomes pressure. You start hearing your own thoughts louder than ever. Your heartbeat feels like a drum. Your breath like thunder. Some colonists cope by wearing earpieces filled with earth sounds. Forests, oceans, city streets. Others embrace the silence, using it like meditation, like prayer. But no one escapes it. Mars teaches you what silence really means. The colony holds hundreds, maybe thousands, yet it can feel smaller than a village. You see the same faces every day. You hear the same voices in the halls. After months, their laughs, their habits, their arguments echo in your head, even when you're alone. Isolation is not just about being without people. It's about being with the same people, always. So, the colony has rules. Rotating quarters, shifts to give distance, counseling sessions mandatory, not optional. Because minds crack faster than domes. Yet, in this isolation, bonds form deeper than on earth. You know your neighbor's breathing pattern and sleep. You can tell by someone's walk if they are anxious or if their oxygen gauge reads low. A look across the mess hall can mean more than a paragraph. When danger strikes, when alarms scream, when storms roar, no one is left alone. Arms grab arms. Voices steady voices. Each colonist knows survival is shared. You may not love everyone here, but you trust them. And trust is stronger than love. A strange thing happens when humans are cut off from Earth. New culture blooms. Phrases born in the colony become sayings. Songs invented in the commons spread through every dome. Jokes about dust, about oxygen, about gravity. Nonsense to Earth, but sacred here. Children grow up calling themselves Martians, not Earthlings. Their games mimic EVAs. Their drawings feature red skies. Their lullabies do not mention rivers, but domes and stars. A new identity is forming, one heartbeat at a time. Still, Earth lingers. Colonists dream of rain. They describe it to children who have never seen it. The way droplets drum on rooftops. The smell of wet soil. The rainbow after storm. They remember oceans. The endless blue. The roar of waves. The salt air. Some cry quietly when Earth transmissions play. Others refuse to watch, turning away from reminders of what cannot be touched again. Nostalgia here is not a memory, it is a wound. And yet, it also fuels them, because the longing for Earth becomes determination to make Mars a true home. Psychologists are as vital as engineers. They lead group sessions where colonists speak of fear, of homesickness, of anger. They teach breathing techniques, mindfulness practices, mental drills for when the walls feel too close. Sometimes they prescribe Earth immersion, a room with holographic oceans, forests, skies. Colonists sit for hours weeping, laughing, remembering. Because They do nothing but listen, because here, listening is medicine. Not all cope. Some grow restless, pacing the domes, staring at the horizon as if it might crack open and swallow them. Some retreat into silence, eating alone, speaking less, their eyes shadowed. A few break entirely, panic attacks, hallucinations, desperate attempts to walk outside without suits. These are the colony's hidden tragedies. They remind everyone that survival is not just measured in oxygen levels, it is measured in hope. And yet, those who endure become something new, resilient, adaptable, quietly strong. A colonist learns to live with scarcity, with silence, with confinement, and still smile, still sing, still dream. You realize it in yourself. One day you wake up and notice the silence no longer crushes you, it steadies you. The small meals no longer frustrate you, they nourish you. The endless red desert no longer feels empty, it feels like home. The colony mind is not fragile, it is forged. And in its forging, humanity in itself begins to change. Tensions under the dome, politics and power. Wherever humans gather, even under alien skies, there are rules. And wherever there are rules, there is conflict. On Earth, nations argue across oceans. On Mars, politics unfolds beneath domes. Small, fragile, but no less fierce. Every colony begins with Earth. Earth funds it, builds it, sends ship across the void. Earth laws travel in data packets, delayed by minutes or hours, depending on the dance of planets. A council on Earth issues directives, how resources are divided, how disputes are settled, how much oxygen, water, and energy must be rationed. But here's the truth. Earth is far, Earth is slow, and Mars is immediate. When an air filter cracks, you cannot wait 30 minutes for instructions. When a dome fractures, you cannot request permissions to act. On Mars, survival decides faster than Earth ever can. So, colonists form their own council. Representatives from each dome gather weekly in the commons. Their debates are not about ideology but breadth. Do we expand the farms this year or build more solar panels? Do we send a rover to search for more ice or use the fuel for mining deeper tunnels? The council is not politics as Earth knew it. It is triage. Every choice has weight. Every vote echoes through lives. And yet, even here, voices rise, arguments spark, because humans do not shed their differences at the airlock. Whispers begin. Why should Earth control us? Why should we depend on supply ships when we can grow our own food, Mine our own resources, breathe our own air. Others reply, without Earth, there is no Mars. Every bolt, every circuit, every seed we owe to them. The debate sharpens. Is Mars a colony or a world of its own? Some wear patches on their sleeves, a red circle with a lone star, free Mars. Others still display Earth's flag, faded but proud. Between them lies tension, quiet but growing. Scarcity shapes politics. When a storm buries the solar arrays, Earth-aligned voices argue. Call for help, request backup. Earth owes us. Martian voices answer. We cannot depend on ships that take months to arrive. We must learn to stand alone. When food is scarce, Earth voices say, import seeds, import nutrients, wait for the next supply drop. Martian voices argue, no, we must engineer plants that live only here, even if they taste bitter, even if they fail first. Scarcity does not divide evenly. It digs trenches. The deepest divide is not between Earthborn and Earth-ruled. It is between those who remember Earth and those who never knew it. Children born under domes call themselves Martians. Their bones grow lighter, their lungs longer, their eyes adapted to dimmer skies. They do not long for oceans they never saw. They do not miss the rain they never felt. To them, Earth is a storybook, myth, ancestral homeland. Mars is reality. Mars is home. And when Earth's Council sends new laws across the void, young Martians ask, why should strangers on another planet tell us how to live? The first protest. It begins quietly. A group of colonists gather in the commons, refusing to work shifts until Earth's Council eases ration demands. They paint slogans on fabric. Breath is ours. Mars for Martians. Others frown, worried that rebellion wastes precious energy. But something has begun. A fire, fragile but growing, like the first spark of oxygen in a vacuum. Yet open conflict is dangerous, too dangerous, because domes are glass and every crack endangers all. So tensions remain whispers. Side glances, quiet meetings in unused corridors. A song sung by children. Red world, free world, ours to keep. For now, balance holds. Earth still sends ships. Mars still accepts them. But under the domes, a new identity stirs. History whispers its lesson. Colonies never remain colonies forever. Distance breeds independence. Survival breeds pride. Children born under the red skies will one day demand more than survival. They will demand sovereignty. And though today's debates end in compromise, though today's council still honors Earth's authority, you know this. The future belongs to Mars. Not as an extension of Earth, but as its own world, its own voice. its own dream. Children of Mars, a new generation. There is a saying in the colony: we are settlers, they are Martians. Because for all the courage of the first colonists, for all the sweat and sacrifice that built these domes, the true Martians are not the ones who came here. They are the ones who were born here. The first birth on Mars was a miracle. The child arrived in silence, under the hum of life support machines. Doctors held their breath, wondering if the lungs would adapt, if the fragile body could withstand this thinner world. And then, a cry. Thin, sharp, alive. Every colonist wept that day, because it meant Mars was no longer just a place to survive. It was a place where life could begin. Children born here are different. Bones grow lighter, stretched by lower gravity. Muscles form leaner, faster, more agile. Their hearts pump harder, adapting to thinner air. Their skin thickens slightly, adjusting to drier atmosphere. Doctors track them obsessively, measuring every beat, every breath. But soon, it becomes clear, these children are not weak. They are adapted. They leap higher, run faster, endure more with less. They are living proof that humanity is not fixed. It bends, reshapes, becomes Martian. Ask a Martian child about oceans, and they tilt their head, puzzled. You show them videos of waves crashing, and they laugh. That can't be real. Water doesn't move like that. Show them forests, and they ask if the green is artificial light. Show them rain, and they reach to touch the screen, wide-eyed, as if watching magic. Earth, to them, is a myth. Stories their parents whisper at bedtime. Legends of endless blue skies, of clouds soft as wool. They know Earth exists, but they do not long for it. Their hearts beat for red deserts, not blue skies. Culture grows quickly in small spaces. Children invent new slang, mixing Earth languages with clipped Martian brevity. They say, dust side instead of outside. Bread share for the communal act of eating together. Redborn for those who never knew Earth. Their songs echo in the halls. Chants about stars, games about airlocks, lullabies about domes. Their laughter is high, bright, strange, but beautiful. A new dialect emerges, and with it, a new identity. Schooling here is not just arithmetic and history. It is survival. Children learn to seal a suit before they can spell their names. They practice emergency drills, how to close a hatch, how to share oxygen, how to guide a friend through panic. But they also learn Earth's past. Teachers show them ruins of ancient cities, speak of wars and empires. The children listen politely, then shrug, because for them, those stories are dust. They are more interested in the future, in questions like, can we terraform the poles? Will we build cities in the canyons? When can we walk outside without suits? Their eyes are not on Earth's history. They are on Mars tomorrow. As the years pass, their numbers grow. The sound of children's laughter fills the domes. Schools expand. Commons echo with play. The colony feels less like an outpost, more like a city. And when the first Martian child reaches adulthood, standing tall before the council, declaring, I am not Earth's child, I am Mars's, the colony realizes something profound. This is no longer a temporary settlement. It is a civilization. The sacred red, spirituality and rituals. Humans cannot live on bread and oxygen alone. They need meaning. They need ritual. They need something larger than survival. Something to explain why they endure. And on Mars, meaning takes root in the dust. It began in silence. A miner, trapped in a collapsed tunnel, whispered words into the void. Please, let me see the sun again. When the rescuers pulled him out, covered in red dust, but alive, others asked what he had said. He shrugged. A prayer. From then on, whispers began. Not to gods of old earth, but to Mars itself, to the dust, the rock, the sky. At each new dome opening, colonists gather in the commons. A bowl of Martian dust is passed around. Each person dips a gloved finger into it and then touches the dome wall. It is not superstition. It is acknowledgement, a reminder that this dome, this air, this life exists because the dust allows it. Children grow up calling it the red blessing. To them, it is tradition as natural as birthdays. At night, colonists gather at the dome's edge to watch the stars. The sky here is thinner, clearer. Stars blaze like diamonds, sharper than Earth ever knew. And then, hovering blue and distant, is Earth, a star among stars. Some bow their heads, whispering thanks to the home that birthed them. Others raise their fists, whispering vows of independence. But all agree, Earth is not forgotten. It is a reminder of where humanity began. Mars is where it continues. In unused corridors, small shrines appear. Photos of loved ones left on Earth. Scraps of fabric. Carved stones brought from EVA walks. Someone leaves a tomato seed. Another, a pebble from Olympus Mons. Candles cannot burn here, so lights flicker in glass jars. They are not shrines to gods. They are shrines to memory. Because memory itself is sacred when survival erases so much. The colony has no church bells, but it has songs. Every week, colonists gather in the commons. Someone begins to hum, others join. Voices weave together until the dome itself seems to vibrate. The songs have no words, only tones, long and low, echoing the hum of machines. A choir that sounds like oxygen flowing, like air circulators turning, like survival itself. Children fall asleep to the sound. Adults feel their hearts steady. The colony breathes as one. Spirituality here is not about power, it is about fragility. On earth, on earth, people prayed for wealth, for victory, for rain. Here, prayers are simpler. Let the dome hold another day. Let the crops grow. Let the storm pass. And in that humility, colonists discover something profound. Life is miracle. Each breath is blessing. Each day is grace. Over decades, these traditions begin to weave together into something larger, a belief system, not formal, not dogmatic, but shared. It has no single god, no sacred book, but it has symbols: the dust, the dome, the distant earth in the night sky. Its creed is simple. We endure, we adapt, we belong. And the outsiders may call it strange, to the colonists, it feels inevitable. Because when you live in a world that could kill you in seconds, every act of survival becomes sacred. There is one ritual all colonists dream of making: the EVA to Olympus Mons. It takes weeks of planning, days of travel. But those who stand at the base of the tallest mountain in the solar system speak of it with reverence. They collect a handful of dust, kneel in silence, and return with it to the colony. The dust is placed in the shrine, a relic of the mountain. Children listen wide-eyed to these tales, whispering, "One day I will climb it." Perhaps they will. Perhaps they won't. But the dream itself is holy. And so, the colony becomes more than steel and glass. It becomes a temple. Every dome a chapel. Every breath a prayer. Mars is no longer a barren world. It is sacred because it holds not only your body, but your spirit. Shadows on the horizon, crisis and resilience. Life on Mars is balance. Every system measured, every resource counted, every breath accounted for. But balance is fragile, and sometimes it breaks. It begins with a flicker. Lights in the corridor dim for half a second, then return. Most barely notice, but engineers stiffen. A flicker means power disruption. Minutes later, alarms echo through the dome. A storm is coming. Not a mild dust swirl, not the kind that paints the sky red for a day, but a true storm. A wall of dust the size of continents sweeping across the planet. Through the dome's glass, you see it. A horizon that should be clear is instead swallowed in rust. Dust rises kilometers high, blotting out the sun, turning day into twilight. The wind carries particles finer than smoke, sharp as glass, endless as time. Solar panels fail first. Energy levels drop. Backup batteries hum to life, but they are finite. And then the fear sets in. If the storm lasts weeks, as they often do, can the colony endure? The council orders lockdown. Non-essential lights dim. Heating lowers by 2 degrees. Showers are banned. Every colonist receives rations, less food, less water, less power. You feel it too. Not hunger, not thirst, but the weight of fragility. Every machine hum, every pump variation feels thinner now, stretched like a fraying thread. On the third night, alarms scream again. A small dome, one of the hydroponic farms, has suffered a breach. A microfracture widened by wind, letting in dust and death. You rush with others in EVA suits. The farm glows dim through the haze, rows of plants wilting in thin air, frost crawling up the glass. Engineers patch desperately, spraying sealant, layering polymer. Farmers weep as leaves shrivel before their eyes. The breach closes, but the damage is done. One harvest lost, food gone, hope shaken. Rumors spread, whispers in corridors. We don't have enough. Some blame Earth. They should have sent more supplies. Others blame the council. They rationed wrong. A few even whisper treason. Why keep struggling? Why not abandon? The tension tightens. Voices raise. Fists clench. In the commons, a fight breaks out. 2 men shoving, shouting, until others drag them apart. It is not anger at each other. It is fear. Fear heavy as the dust outside. But Mars has taught colonists one truth. Survival is shared. And slowly resilience rises. Engineers work double shifts, inventing new ways to conserve energy. Farmers salvage what crops they can, turning scraps into soups, drying leaves for later use. Children volunteer to help, carrying waters, cleaning filters, singing songs to lift spirits. The commons fills with quiet determination. No one says it aloud, but every colonist knows. We will not break. The storm lasts 30 days. 30 endless days of dim light, cold meals, and thin air. Every morning begins with fear. Each night ends with gratitude because the dome still stands. You dream of blue skies, of warmth, of ease. But when you wake, you face red twilight and whisper, "One more day." And then silence. The dust settles, the sky clears. Through the dome, you see the sun again, pale but steady. The panels shrink light, the batteries recharge, warmth returns. The colony breathes as one. You survived. Afterward, you notice something. The fights fade, the debates cool. Because those 30 days reminded everyone of the truth. On Mars, you do not survive alone. You survive together. And though the dust may return, though the storms may rage again, you know this. Humanity has endured worse. And here, on this fragile red world, it will endure again. Looking back at Earth, nostalgia and distance. At night, when the colony sleeps, you often walk to the dome's edge. You press your forehead against the glass, eyes scanning the sky. And there, among a sea of stars, you see it. Earth. Blue, bright, alive. Not just a planet, but a memory. A dream you can never fully return to. From Mars, Earth is small. A pale star that rises and sets, glowing faint against the endless dark. Children point at it with awe. Is that really it? Is it where oceans are? Adults stare in silence because they know, they remember. Every colonist carries Earth inside them, a forest in memory, a rainstorm in dreams, a childhood street echoing with laughter. And seeing Earth shining in the sky is like seeing an old home through a locked window. Messages arrive from Earth, carried on beams of light. They take minutes, sometimes hours to reach you, depending on the planet's dawns. You open a message from a friend. On your screen, a birthday party, children blowing candles, laughter frozen in digital time. The delay means you reply to echoes. They are already hours older by the time your voice reaches them. Communication is not conversation, it is a dialogue across distance. A reminder that the gap between Earth and Mars is not just kilometers, it is time itself. Some colonists make lists. The smell of rain, the sound of waves, the taste of mangoes, the sight of trees bending in the wind. Others miss the intangible, the randomness of Earth's weather, the chaos of a crowded market, the surprise of bumping into strangers you will never meet again. On Mars, nothing is random. Every breath, every meal, every day is structured, measured, contained. There is no chaos, only control. And sometimes you long for chaos. For Earth-born colonists, nostalgia is wound. For Mars-born children, it is nothing. They shrug when you describe rain. They laugh when you explain thunder. To them, oceans are fairy tales. Forests are myths. Earth animals are imaginary beasts. They do not miss what they never knew. But sometimes you envy them because longing is heavy and they are free of it. Every supply from Earth carries treasures. Coffee beans, chocolate, dried fruits, spices. When the crates open, colonists crowd the commons. Not for survival, but for memory. A sip of real coffee, and someone weeps. a bite of chocolate, and someone laughs like a child. Earth arrives not just in food, but in music, in books, in art. A violin shipped across space, a novel printed on fragile paper. A small stone from the Himalayas passed around like relic. Earth may be far, but it still touches Mars in fragments. And yet, slowly, you realize something. The more you stare at Earth, the smaller it feels. The more you live on Mars, the less you need Earth. Your body is lighter here, your lungs stronger, your mind sharper in silence, your community closer. Earth is where you began, but Mars is where you belong. And when children ask what Earth was like, you pause. You describe forests and seas, but your voice falters because already the memory feels dreamlike. And one day, perhaps, Earth will be myth, and Mars will be reality. Becoming Martian. The year is 2200. You wake beneath domes of glass, breathe air spun from machines, walk through corridors carved by human hands into an alien desert, and you realize you are not just surviving, you are becoming. At first, you thought of yourself as an earthling on Mars, a visitor, a guest. But years pass, and the truth emerges. You are no longer only Earth's child. Your muscles move differently. Your lungs breathe differently. Your heart beats with new rhythm. And your mind? It dreams differently too. It no longer aches for forests, not as sharply. It no longer fears the silence, not as much. It sees beauty in red horizons, poetry in dust storms, meaning in the hum of machines. You are becoming Martian. Generations will come after you, children who will never know Earth, grandchildren who will never set foot on its soil. They'll read of oceans and laugh. They will hear of rain and tilt their heads in wonder. And when they say home, they'll not mean Earth. They will mean Mars. You are the bridge between the two. The first to trade blue skies for red. The first to carry humanity across the void and plant it in new soil. History will remember Earth as cradle. It will remember Mars as threshold. Life here is fragile, yes, but fragility sharpens meaning. Every breath feels like gift. Every meal tastes like miracle. Every dawn feels like victory. On Earth, people forget how precious life is. Here, you cannot. Here, gratitude is constant. Here, resilience is faith. Perhaps this was always humanity's destiny. Not to remain on one planet, but to spread, to adapt, to change, to become many versions of itself. On Earth, you were one species. On Mars, you're becoming another. Not less human, but more. More patient, more resilient, more aware that survival is shared. This is what it means to be Martian. So tonight, as you drift to sleep beneath the hum of life support machines, With dust storms howling beyond the dome, remember this. You are a part of a story larger than yourself. A story of migration, of endurance, of becoming. Earth gave you birth, Mars gives you future. And when you look up at the red sky, when you feel your lighter body leap, when you watch children laugh in gravity that bends to them alone, you know the truth. Humanity is no longer earthbound. It belongs to the stars. And you are among the first. Thank you for joining us tonight, dreamers. If you've made it this far, leave a comment or an emoji in the comments. Let us know you walked the red sands with us. Would you live on Mars if given the chance? Tell us below. Until next time, sleep well and dream beyond the stars.